I will.
Jacob?
Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leader in rushing, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Tim in Green Bay. We got Emilio in Tennessee here to talk some Green Bay Packers this evening as we're inching closer to kickoff. Packers Bears, going to be an exciting game there. 3:25 kickoff Sunday at Lambeau Field. Jordan Love versus Caleb Williams. We got Matt LaFleur versus Ben Johnson. We've got Micah Parsons versus whoever the hell he wants to line up over on that offensive line. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. And I see the chat is already lit up. We got a super chat, got a new member in here. We'll get to all that tonight on tap, though. We're going to break down the Packers coaches responding to Ben Johnson's comments where he took a shot at Matt LaFleur earlier in the year. We'll kind of see what test the water there, test the temperature a touch. We'll give you guys the updated injury report. We'll do a little PFF preview, our offense versus their defense or their offense versus our defense. So we'll dive into all that. Before we do, if you guys would do that YouTube stuff for us, hit like, hit subscribe, click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live here in the future. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your evening. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you talking Packers on a daily basis. So if you're looking for that type of content, make sure you sub to the channel and click that bell icon so you know every time we do go live. At any point in the day, I think we did 3 live streams today, or this is the 3rd. So you just never know when we may hit that go live button and get in here and talk some ball. Boys, y'all ready to dive into it? Y'all got anything you want to hit off the top here before we get into some of these chat comments?
It's Bears week. We're ready to go, man. Let's go.
Let him talk, Tim. Let him talk. Oh, man.
Yeah, I blew it. I almost blew it.
Hey, did you watch the morning show where I went 2.5 minutes just pouring my guts out?
I didn't see the show. I was listening to it on the pod, Clay, and you started right off, and it didn't sound like a normal intro, and I'm like, okay, something must have happened.
I looked down the chat and they said you're muted, Clayton. I went, damn, I've been talking forever. Well, I was ready to take a pee.
Oh, brutal.
Anyway, go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying. SA gave me a call. Said they're going to do everything. He said they're going to do everything they can for the game tonight. Big game, and man, he's ready for it.
There you go. All right, let's jump into some of these comments. Doug says, number 1, like button hit, check. Number 2, daddy soda in hand, check. Number 3, laptop VPN so I can text while watching on TV, check. I thought that VPN was going to be something that got me a little bit worried. Let's light this blowtorch is what he says. So appreciate you tuning in, Doug. You are the man. Shout out to Steve, who became a member here on YouTube. Appreciate the support, sir. And Chris the Cash Win says Packers have stopped doing Lambeau leaps this season.
What?
So I was kind of looking at the chat and other chatter about that. I love the Lambeau leap. I love tradition. I think it's the best celebration in sports. But I immediately asked the guys when I was seeing the conversation taking place in the chat, and I'm like, thinking about the last home games we had. We had against the Vikings. That would have been a game you could have done a Lambeau leap or 2 probably. Yep. But the 2 before that, you're talking about losing to the Eagles, losing to the Panthers. I can't imagine those players when they do score, they're thinking, well, first of all, with the Eagles, you didn't score, right? It's a field goal, right? The Carolina game, I can't imagine when they scored to say, yeah, let me go jump in the crowd. It's probably let's get our ass over here on the sideline, look at the tablet, figure out what we need to do to try to break through here and win this ball game. So I don't put a whole lot into it personally, Chris. And I think, Emilio, you had a good point, right, about the play clock. Was that you mentioned that, or was that Tim?
Yeah, Tim might have said it too. I was saying, didn't Matt say last year that they get one or the other option-wise? You can either celebrate or you can do a Lambeau leap. You can't do both. We just don't have time for it. The play clock fires right up for the extra point right after the score. So it's not like you can wait around and celebrate like they used to. So you're on a time crunch for sure.
Yep. Act like you've been there before, right?
Yeah.
Straight out of Lombardi school, right? You know,
Tim, I can still do it in Madden. So why are we upset about this? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And again, man, I don't really I don't really focus on that stuff during the game. I'm like when they score, I'm not going, oh man, are they going to jump in the crowd? It's awesome when it happens. Again, I love it. I think it's the best celebration in the NFL and the tradition of it with Leroy Butler and of course Robert Brooks perfecting it and everybody in between. But for me, I'm more like as soon as we score, I'm trying to think, okay, what are they doing on offense? What's the game plan? What's the play call on defense on this next drive? How much time's left? Are we in the middle late? What's the turnover differential looking? I'm kind of focused on that stuff. I don't really key in on the Lambeau Leap that much. Now, Chris, if you're suggesting they're doing it in protest or something, or they're doing it in spite, I have no reason to believe that's the case, unless you guys in the chat have heard something else. I don't know. I sure appreciate the super chat, buddy. I wouldn't get too worried about it, I guess is what I'm saying. So,
Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to add to that?
The best Lambeau leaps are just like Leroy did when he invented it, right? They're organic. They're after a big play. You're running out of the back of the end zone, or maybe you pick six. You got a tutter, and you feel that momentum, spur of the moment, and you just jump into the crowd. So I don't think planning it out or making a big deal out of it is on anyone's mind in that locker room or on the coaching staff. I think everyone's just thinking about winning a ball game, right?
Yeah, right. It probably flows a little better, like you said, Tim, when you're running in there full speed. Yeah, I'll just keep going, hit the wall and jump, sort of thing.
Yep.
Yeah, and I do recall. You guys remember the skull chant, right? That they did.
Yeah.
I do recall they were talking about what they should do, and somebody said a Lambeau leap, and they said, no, that's only for tutters. Like they made it a point, like they thought about doing a Lambeau leap if they were to get an interception off of J.J. McCarthy, but then they said, no, that's only if you score a touchdown. Like they're keeping that kind of sacred.
That was Evan Williams. Evan Williams said that. Like, hey, it's not a tutter. We're not jumping in the crowd.
Right.
Gotta love it.
I remember seeing a clip of Woodson. He was talking. He said he wanted it. He didn't end up getting a chance to do a Lambeau leap because he wanted to get it on one of the pick sixes, and you can't waste it.
Yep.
Yeah. Chris says, thanks for pissing on my parade. That's what we're here for, Chris. That's how we roll. But I like what Solder says. As soon as they score, I feel immense stress because an extra point attempt is coming. It's so true, man. It's like, which way's the wind blowing? Jeez, old Pete, let's get this between the uprights. Sorry, Chris. We didn't mean to piss on your parade. But as Mandy says, this guy right here is a stick in the mud. That's what you're the guy. He's just a stick in the mud. So, all right, let's jump into it, gents. All right. We talked about this earlier in the week, the comments that were made by Ben Johnson back in January. I put this tweet up. Back in January, Ben Johnson took a shot at Matt LaFleur in his very first Chicago press conference. I hope every single Green Bay Packers captain reminds each other. Coach LaFleur always stands at the podium taking blame. It's time for this team to take this personal. Here are the comments that Ben Johnson made, and we're going to talk about what the OC and DC had to say about it. Here we go.
Dan Campbell, Kevin O'Connell. You're talking about two guys that are up for Coach of the Year awards as the season ends here. And to be quite frank with you, I kind of enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice a year.
God, he's so awkward.
What a dweeb. Are you running for office or are you coaching a football team?
Seriously, did that not
You
feel like
nerd.
a politician? It felt like a politician. And he's
Get ready to go.
looking around waiting for laughs too, right? And didn't get them. He's just like, okay. All right. So let me go around the horn with it. I heard that and I thought, I can't wait till we play these. I can't wait till we play them, dude. And I hope you've seen the tweet. I hope these players, these captains stand up for their coach. And Micah said that he feels like they've been disrespected. And then they asked, well, what was said that that disrespected you? And he changed the subject real quick. I don't know if you guys caught that. So you could tell the players have been talking about it. Matt LaFleur has downplayed it. Jordan Love, the leader of the team, downplayed it, right? It just kind of feels like something's brewing here where they're, all right, you know what? Keep it zipped. Although Packers offensive coordinator Adam Stenovich today, Osteno, was asked about these comments, and his answer was, quote, yeah, you take it personal for sure. I'll just leave it at that.
I love it.
So I want to go around the horn with that, man. It sounds like these boys are ready to go, and I'm excited about this game, man. You guys have talked so much crap all through the offseason like you do every offseason, right? And now you got a good football team, possibly a very good football team. I think you've got a very good coach here. All signs are pointing to Ben Johnson's going to be a very good head coach. However, you come into Lambeau Field running that mouth, I hope they get that ass spanked. But let's go around the horn with it. How do y'all feel about the way Steno responded? And do you have a problem with those comments, or maybe you're just like, nah, it's not a big deal?
I like how Steno responded, right? He acknowledged it. Yeah, you take it personal. We're aware of what's going on, and we'll just leave it there, right? We'll let our play do the talking. We'll go out there and do it on the field. Bears fans, Bears players, Bears coaches, they're going to chirp, 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 talk, talk, talk. I think our boys are focused on going out there and walking the walk and putting that belt to ass on Sunday at Lambeau. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, nothing hurts worse than a scoreboard check. You're up 10, you're up 17, whatever. That's all the talking needed to do. But you're right, Tim. I love that answer. They even asked Halfley it too. He kind of brushed it off, didn't really answer it, and kind of just said he's going to leave it to Matt or whatever to talk about. And when he was asked about the Parsons thing, he said, "I don't know who would ever want to disrespect somebody like Micah. That's that. Why would you ever want to do that?
Do that, you're going to get your ass kicked in that."
Perfect, because that's what's going to happen. It really is, and you get that. I mean, you all played on a team, so you get that kind of vibe when you're in there with your brothers, and you hear what everyone's saying about it. It's over, right? You're fighting for them till the last breath, and like Josh was talking on his runs, everyone's exerting a little more on those blocks, things like that. You're getting that little bit of extra drive and dig from everybody.
Yeah. And as Andy Dubs says here in the chat, very good point. It's important to keep those emotions in check as a player. Absolutely. You got to channel them the right way. There's no doubt. Andres in the chat says, I hate Bears the most. Then the Lions of victory on Sunday would be very sweet. Amen. We get the Lions kicking off here in just a little bit. I'm excited to sit down and watch the 6-5-1 Cowboys go up against the 7-5 Lions. I hope the Lions just continue to sink out of sight. That would be absolutely awesome. So, all right. Kieran says, I think this team's not saying anything about it in public, but I believe that they are steaming to get that ass. I completely agree. I think behind the scenes, right? I think behind the scenes, there's been a lot of the players talking about this.
Oh, yeah.
And Matt, this is exactly what we talked about going into the week, was like, Matt doesn't need to say anything. Matt just needs to be like, it ain't no big deal, whatever. Just brush it off. Let the players do the talking. And I love that Steno, people look at Steno like he's this big bumbling, what does he do? He don't call the plays. He's an offensive coordinator. Go back and watch his tape when he played football.
Yeah,
he's a
football guy, man. All ball.
So I love his comments and how he responds. This is what Emilio was talking about. Shout out to Ryan Wood @by Ryan Wood on X. He tweeted this out. Packers DC Jeff Halfley on Ben Johnson's whip about beating Matt LaFleur twice a year during the introductory presser with the Bears. Quote, I don't know too much out of it. I don't make too much out of it, honestly. I'll leave that between those two, and we'll figure it out on Sunday. That sounds just
BTA. Know what I'm saying?
We'll figure that out on Sunday, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and you'll notice this week, Ben Johnson has changed his tune, and Bears fans are trying to grab onto that, like, because Ben Johnson's just bragging on everybody. This player's great. That player's great. Oh yeah, Jeff Halfley's an awesome DC. Blah blah blah. You can tell he's just down. No. We on the schoolyard now. No, we're on the schoolyard. We had a graveyard back home that was right next to the school. If anybody had beef, it was I will see a graveyard. Fighting in between tombstones and crap.
Oh, yeah.
Like, well, no. You can't go back on it now, Ben. You're either going to come into Lambeau and whip our ass, or we're going to whip your ass. But there's none of this all of a sudden. No, forget that. It was just tongue in cheek. And I honestly thought that Matt LaFleur and Ben Johnson knew each other when the comment was made. I thought, okay, just a little badgering back and forth. But then when they asked Matt, he's like, I don't know him. Yeah. I was like,
know of him, but don't know him like that.
Okay, got it. That's what we needed to hear. All right. So I'm curious to know what everybody thinks in the comments. You're watching this video back later. Let us know how you feel about Steno's comments in response to Ben Johnson's comments, how Matt LaFleur handled it. Did you guys pick up on that little edge from Micah Parsons as well at his locker? It seems like he feels like they're disrespected. I want to know what you guys think in the comments. And make sure you hit subscribe, click that like button, and make sure you hit the bell icon so you're notified when we go live here in the future. All right, let's jump into the injury report, guys. There's a lot of stuff to kind of to raffle through here, because some things kind of changed today with Javon Bullard. Shout out to Paul Brettel. He tweeted out, Bullard a non-participant, but Quay was upgraded to full participant. So when you look at this entire injury report here between the Packers and the Bears, the things that changed were Bullard going from limited that did not participate with the ankle. Now, listen, was it they got him out there Wednesday and said, okay, we know where it's at. Let's take the rest of the time off this week and get you ready for Sunday? Or is it something that they went out there, oh, crap, it's worse than we thought, and now he's a did not participate and going to be possibly not going, right? That's going to be the big question there. And the other thing, though, to talk about was there was a tweet that was put out about Nate Hobbs, since we're talking Javon Bullard here, and it kind of, to me, it seems like the key talking point here. Rob Domofsky tweeted out, sounds like Hafley would consider playing Nate Hobbs in the slot if needed. And it might be needed this week with Javon Bullard popping up on the injury report. Hobbs, who had been playing outside since he signed with the Packers, appears ready to return from his knee injury. So all signs are pointing to Nate Hobbs getting back on the field. You guys know how I feel about Hobbs. I feel like he's a much better slot corner based off of his Raiders tape than an outside corner. So if Bullard can't go, you kick Nate Hobbs into the slot, keep Nixon at the left cornerback from the defensive perspective, Carrington Valentine at the right cornerback spot. You got Kamal Hadden coming off the bench, who played pretty well when he came in relief duty. But that's kind of, I feel like, where we're at right now. How do you guys see this playing out? Do you think if Javon Bullard can't go, do you feel pretty confident Nate Hobbs can step in there? Because his run defense grade and the stuff he's put on tape in the run fits just as good, if not better, probably better than Bullard's run defense this year, although he's played outside and Bullard's been inside in the slot. The coverage, though, I think we would all agree, Bullard's been a better cover corner this year than Nate Hobbs. How do you guys see it?
Yeah, I think that's a pleasant surprise. We've talked about with Bullard, right? The coverage grade is, steadily improved throughout the season. My concern is if he's not a go and you do put Hobbs in the slot, Hobbs coming back with this nagging knee issue. He had the cleanup or whatever in the preseason, kind of missed some time. How much are we going to get out of him? And if Hobbs is going to be able to hold down the slot, is it for an entire ball game? Play in, play out. And if not, and you don't have Bullard, what's the game plan then? And to me, I think, you probably have to kick Nixon back to the slot, and then you got Kamal Hadden on the boundary, in an emergency break glass situation. But I feel confident in Nate Hobbs playing the slot. I always have. Like you said, the Raider tape doesn't lie, and we know what he's able to do against the run, and we're playing the Bears. We know about the running attack of the Chicago Bears, so I've got no hesitancy at all with Hobbs playing the slot. Hopefully Bullard is a go, but going from limited to a DNP is not great.
Yeah, I think I'm with you right there at the end, Tim. Hoping for Bull to get back. He's been playing great. I think he's a super key piece of this defense that, has been slept on, and people were cutting on him early in his career a lot. So I'm glad that, he's been hitting his stride there. But when Hafley was asked it was kind of like, you've strictly played Hobbs on the outside since he's been here. Is that something you consider moving him inside? He goes, yeah, I mean, definitely. Why would I not consider? He's a great player, all that. So I think in how fast he did respond, I think that's definitely a consideration. I totally see Hobbs being able to handle it in there. Not worried about, him in there with the run defense and all that. He stuck his nose in there. And I think that we'd be, and still in good shape where we're at. Then probably Evans going to pick up a little bit more snaps, I think, than if Bull's not out, because we still did flip Bull up to safety sometimes. So I do think if Bull is out, Evans going to probably play close to 100% of the snaps.
Got it. The other thing that sticks out to me here is obviously Quay Walker returning from injury, right? He was limited Wednesday, full participation today, according to the injury report. However, when you talk about him and McDuffie, we've talked about the PFF grades, and PFF seems to think McDuffie is playing at a much higher level than Quay. And we always say, look, cross-check everything. What does the tape show, right? What does the tape show? What does PFF say? What does the next-gen stats NFL Pro data say as well, right? I'm working on right now, and I'll have this number in like 30 seconds, how good McDuffie has been in terms of a stop rate. You guys know what stop is. It's when a player makes a tackle that results in a negative EPA or a negative play in terms of EPA for that specific play, right? With Quay playing 585 snaps, right, is what his snap total is. His stop percentage, all right, is 7%, okay? McDuffie's, he's only played 326 snaps, right, to Quay Walker's 585. And he has 36 stops to Quay Walker's 41. His stop rate is 11%. I mean, you're talking about that's significant. You're talking about a 4% higher stop rate. So it's not only is it showing up on the tape, not only is PFF saying he's played better, but also you're noticing it in the NFL Pro data as well. Now, if Quay's fully healthy, they're probably going to put him out there and put the green dot on him and go back to the way they were operating, right? I think that's the most likely scenario. But if they do go with McDuffie over Quay and Quay is playing, I think they'll have in their back pocket, Emilio, that, hey, we wanted to limit his snaps so it don't look like they gave McDuffie the start over him. That's a benefit to this whole situation. And maybe we don't find out till 2 or 3 games down the road. But I want to get your all's take on it, because the more I dig into it, it feels like McDuffie's playing better than Quay this year, but Quay has taken a huge step in the right direction. The other aspect of it, obviously, is Quay is a physical freak, Emilio. Like, he is way more athletic with size, length, speed, quickness, even the way he hits. I know McDuffie brings a thump too, but Quay's a hard hitter. If you seen these two guys on the playground, you're picking teams, right? And you got to pick between those two. You're taking Quay on the playground. Right? This is what Daniel Jeremiah and Bucky Brooks talk about all the time, right? He's one of those guys. But if you were to remove everything you know up to this point, other than the data we have at hand, right? Yeah, I think it's hands down you would take McDuffie over. It's a really interesting situation. I want to get your all's take on that, because this is something that's going to pop up this week. I think it's a good problem to have. Don't get me wrong, but what's your all's take on that? Go ahead, Emilio.
No, absolutely. I mean, yeah, injuries happen, but all of this time, injuries give opportunities to other players to step up, next man up mentality, get those reps, because that's going to be important down the line, right? McDuffie has gotten some reps on the end there. I think the other thing that kind of I don't know how you dive into it, but his stops, him being a sandbacker a lot up on the line of scrimmage, he's already there at the line on some of those plays that he's making. He has shot the gap. We've seen him, start, stop, shoot, and get in there. But maybe some of those where he was already on the line, Quay's climbing each time as a stack. So that would maybe be my only, pushback on that for Quay. But yeah, love Quay, the horizontal speed, all of that. The speed for the defense comes from the linebackers. So having Quay out there would be, obviously beneficial to us. But I'm not mad at McDuffie. I think he's played great. You have to, when you have those opportunities, and you saw that his snaps on special teams dwindled when he was 100% on the defense, because you can't have your special teams captain out there running all those other snaps up and down on punt team coverage and all that. Keep him out there for a field goal block or something. But I'm super happy with McDuffie compared to, where we were kind of at last year with a couple of tough spots for him.
Yeah, not so cool says here in the chat, Tim. Quay is sideline to sideline. McDuffie is north and south. And I think that's a fair point right there as well. How do you feel about it, Tim? If you had to make the decision, Quay's 100% healthy, which one are you playing out there in the nickel 4-2-5 along with Edger and Cooper?
I'm going with my boy Quay. You know that off bat. I feel like he's earned it. He's missed a couple of weeks with the stinger. But you got to put him on the field. However, I will agree with not so cool. His point is valid. You've got kind of two different linebackers here, and if you look at what we're up against on Sunday, it's going to be a heavy run attack. At least that's what we're anticipating from the Bears. So I like McDuffie as a north and south guy. Playing downhill, as they say, and making those tackles in the run fit and things like that. And I like Quay Walker side to side. And, coverage backers. So, time will tell how it looks, but I think both of these guys play football. It's just a matter of who's gonna be your starting green dot. And, if Quay is in fact 100%, him taking a step forward here on the injury report is a good sign. It's been a couple of weeks since the stinger. So I think we're going to see a little bit of both, but my money's on Quay getting the start if he's 100%.
Yeah. As we wrap up on the Packers side of the injury report, it is worth mentioning, I think there's a realistic shot that these players do not play. Javon Bullard, your slot corner, Lucas Van Ness, defensive lineman, I don't think there's any shot he plays. Savion Williams, wide receiver, I don't think he'll play. And Devontae Wyatt is obviously out for the season. So I think you'll be without those players. Everyone else, I think, could be a game-time decision. I'm trying to look here. Jaden Reed, it sounds like he's going to go. All signs point to Jaden Reed's going to be out there. I hope that's the case. Colin Oliver, I don't think they'll put him out there. I think they'll ramp him and Marshawn Lloyd up for a couple weeks. Same thing with Brenton Cox Jr. Other than that, everybody else is pretty well good to go. Carl Brooks, maybe he's limited. He hasn't played in a while. That's one you want to get back, obviously, with the loss of Devontae Wyatt. And we did an extensive deep dive yesterday on the show, just a quick little episode. Warren Brinson was, I think that's your 3-tech. I really do. 13%, 13.5% pressure rate. Dude's had a solid run stop rate as well. I'm really impressed with Warren Brinson. I think that's going to be the 3-tech. Ideally that you put in that situation. But again, if Carl Brooks is healthy, you're probably going to put Carl Brooks out there over Brinson, or at least get a good even rotation. So it's going to be interesting there. Moving on to Chicago's side of the injury report. In terms of what changed, Kyle Mananga, awesome running back, had an ankle injury, did not participate Wednesday, limited today. I think he will go this week against the Packers, me personally. In terms of did not participate, you got Ruben Hippolyte, if I'm saying that right, Hippolyte, linebacker. He did not participate. You have Rome Odunze with the foot injury, did not participate both days. That's going to be interesting.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
And then Tyreek Stevenson with the hip injury did not participate as well. Joe Tooney just having the veteran rest. He'll be good to go. And that offensive line is pretty stout. But how do y'all feel about Rome Odunze? I'm going to comb through Twitter real quick and see if I can find any inside info there. How do you guys feel about the Packers side of the injury report?
Well, that dude, I mean, we know Rome Odunze is that guy, right? Him not being available is going to affect their passing game, period, point blank. I mean, we talk about Caleb being dynamic as a runner. If you take a weapon away from him in the passing attack, it's going to make it that much more difficult for them to, move the ball in the passing game. So I think Rome Odunze, not participating the last couple of days, that's a big deal. Of course, for all we know, he could get a, game time status and be out there. But right now it's trending that looks like he's not going to play. And I think that bodes well for, our defense going into this matchup.
Yeah, absolutely, Tim. I think that him, not being out there is going to be a beneficial thing, that the corners maybe can play a little bit more up. We can press a little bit more. Maybe you can play a little bit more spot drop looking at him coverage wise because you're not as worried. But him being their best receiver, that's a loss. And yeah, Clay Hoplite was one of the maybe like 10 that we didn't have on the board. I think they picked him up in like the 5th round or something. But besides that, the Bears don't have as long of a list as we do, and they're not, they're not in horrible shape. But I think losing, your best receiver is going to be an issue.
Yeah, and shout out to Wendell Ferreira. He actually tweeted out, he's asking the same questions we are about Odunze. 2 consecutive DMPs for Rome Odunze. He quote tweeted Harrison Graham, who has a significant following. He's got 16,000 followers. Looks like he hosts a podcast for the Bears, it sounds like. He tweeted out, Rome Odunze did not practice today, officially a concern for Sunday. Tomorrow will be big, so we'll keep our eye to that injury report tomorrow to see if he is good to go. Now, there was a little bit of drama earlier in the year, if you guys remember. Caleb Williams kind of threw Rome Odunze under the bus. This guy tweeted out, PPR Fantasy Tips tweeted out, Rome Odunze has dropped 2 passes all season, only 2 drops, right? 46 of Rome Odunze's 84 targets have been catchable. I don't mean to laugh. 84 times he's been targeted. Only 46 of the 84 have been deemed catchable, right? That's 55%, 45% uncatchable. But according to Caleb Williams' truthers, Rome Odunze, quote, needs to come back to the ball and, quote, needs to stop dropping passes. Says stop with this nonsense. That was just a tweet attached right at the bottom there. It kind of perked my interest a little bit. So it's going to be interesting. If Rome Odunze ain't out there, they're going to be
all out against the run, baby, all day.
Yeah,
all day.
So that is your Packers-Bears injury report. If you're watching this video back later, let us know in the comments how you feel about that injury report. Is there anything we missed that could have happened here? Is there maybe a player on Chicago's side that we didn't talk about that maybe wasn't on the injury report that might have been put on our? Let us know in the comments what you think about this health situation between the Packers and the Bears as we approach game day quickly. Also, make sure you click subscribe and hit that bell icon so you're notified when we go live here in the future. All right, let's jump into the PFF preview, guys. Let's start with the betting line. We haven't covered it yet this week. Let's kind of dive in here and see what Vegas is saying and where the money is at. You guys know Vegas has been whipping the public pretty good this year. They may have had – I think the dogs were barking last week, but overall everything's kind of fell into place for the money line, for the Vegas lines, I should say, up to this point. So – forecast, 17 degrees and light snow is what they're calling for right now at Lambeau for that 325 kickoff. The spread right now, the market is sitting at 6.5. That's what it's been the entire time. 6.5 has been the line. So the Packers are 6.5-point favorites at home. Again, if you play along with the 3-point favorite for being the home team, that would make it more like a 3.5-point game. However, the line being at 6.5, this is where the money's at. 80% of the public's money is on Chicago plus 6.5. So again, 80% of the money is saying, yeah, Chicago plus 6.5, give me that bet. All right. 83% of the tickets are on that same bet. Chicago plus 6.5. Now, you say, okay, sometimes the spread get a little bit wonky. Look at the money line, guys. To win outright, 72% of the money is on the Chicago Bears to win this game. Only 32% of the slips, but 72% of the money is on the Bears to win this game. The Chicago Bears fans, in case you guys don't keep up much with this, they have been notorious for throwing away their money betting on their team because they just believe they've always, I remember Mitch Trubisky was for MVP. There was more money on Mitch Trubisky to win the MVP one year than any other candidate. That's how Chicago Bears fans operate. That's how they roll, right? So thank you, Steven. With that being said, you guys know how I feel. I love the fact that 72% on the public, the money in the public is on the Bears to win this game. I absolutely love it. And how do y'all feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, that's got to give you a little bit of drive, right? I don't think that, they're obviously not looking at the numbers like this or anything, but just coming out there with that kind of mentality, all right, that give them that 6.5 and we'll see them out there on the field because that's really what it comes down to. Crunch numbers all day long Sunday at 3:20. It's going down.
Yeah, Chris the Casual in, Tim. He says, "Yeah, that tells us a lot of gambling addiction in Chicagoland."
Yeah. They got a few casinos down there in Chicagoland area. Sure, I'll tell you, man. I'm with you, Clay. Emilio, I know you feel the same way. A lot of us on the show do. We just want to win, right? Just win, baby.
Absolutely.
I don't care if it's by a point or not, but there is a big, big part of me that just wants to put belt to ass and boat race this team so bad. In the friendly confines of 1265, in the winter, in the cold. Beautiful day for football. Beautiful day to beat the Bears 35-10. I'm all for it. Let's go.
Amen. And when you look at some of the other rankings here, again, PFF rankings, they have the Packers overall. Don't look now. They're the second best team in the league is how they have it with their analytics. Again, this isn't their overall grades. This isn't, how the team grade. This is, I'm pretty sure their team metrics. There's a formula they use that goes into kind of like how we do with our PTA power rankings, where we have Green Bay 4th, actually. And I think we got the Bears 13th. But nonetheless, second overall for the Packers, the Bears are 14th. Overall, or for the defensive power ranking, they've got the Packers 9th. The Bears 15th. That's significantly higher than where most rankings have them, although the turnover margin probably baked into that. That makes sense, right? You're kind of somewhere around 25th in points per play allowed and yards per play allowed, but that being first in turnover margin jumps you way up to about the 15 mark. I can see that. Offensively, they have the Packers ranked 3rd and the Bears ranked 9th. And then strength of schedule played, the Packers have played the 16th toughest schedule. The Bears have played the 22nd toughest schedule. Okay, so that's just kind of how all that shakes out. And then when you look at the quarterback matchup here, Jordan Love, 87.3 is his PFF grade. Caleb Williams, 72.7. Keep in mind his passer grade. Jordan Love's passer grade is higher than the 87.3. Caleb Williams is like somewhere around 67. Okay. Adjusted completion percentage, Caleb Williams ranks 44th, minimum 50 dropbacks. He's 44th in the league in terms of completion percentage, that adjusted completion percentage, right? You take out the spots, you take out the throwaways, all that good stuff. So passer rating with a clean pocket, Jordan Love 130.3, Caleb Williams 101.7. Jordan's just lighting it up when they keep him clean. Under pressure, Caleb seems to have the edge. His passer rating under pressure, 54.3. Jordan Love, 48.2. Some people will see that, guys, and they'll go, hold up a minute. Jordan Love is really good against the blitz. He is. Just because they blitz doesn't mean they got pressure on him. When he's pressured is when you get that number. sinking down. And of course, Caleb, he's kind of looking for it. That's when he's at his best. When you make him play within the pocket and throw from within the well, that's where he struggles. So it's gonna be really interesting. Big time throw percentage. You'd hear the media talk about Caleb. You'd think, oh, he's got to be leading the league in big time throw percentage. He's just a highlight waiting to happen. Jordan Love 5.13%, and then Caleb Williams 3.57%. Jordan's significantly higher in that regard. And then turnover worthy plays, that's where Caleb's a little bit better, right, at 2.52, but Jordan right there at 2.56. Both of these quarterbacks really, really good at protecting the football. Power rating overall, Jordan Love 4.5, that's 9th best. Caleb 2.5, that's 20th best. I feel like Caleb is somewhere between the 15 to 20 mark in terms of where he ranks amongst all quarterbacks. What's your all's take on the quarterback matchup here?
I think that's fair. I would put Caleb in that same ranking category there. I mean, in Jordan 5 to 10, right, for that matter. And, you talk about big time throw percentage. That's the one that stands out to me. Jay Money is that dude. If you're going to compare these guys head to head, I think if you're coaching a football team, you'd rather have Jay Money throwing that ball than Caleb Williams. Now, if you're looking for a guy to wiggle out and scramble and evade pressure, yeah, maybe Caleb has the edge there. But in every other category here, comparing these two, it's Jay Money for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, Tim. And you see it's going to be a battle. Like turnover worthy plays was that 4/100th of a point. I mean, they are neck and neck, and that's what Clay kept asking for. I was maybe a little bit more. I'm not worried about too many picks, but you see how important it is once we get into these games. Him taking control and taking care of that ball is huge. And I just was pulling up one of the insights on Pro, Clay, and they had Jordan Love, Caleb Williams. Jordan Love has thrown 34 touchdown passes to 2 interceptions, and Caleb Williams has 15 touchdown passes to 2 interceptions in their careers in week 11 or later. This is the best and second best, respectively, passing touchdown to interception ratio in week 11 or later by any quarterback to attempt at least 350 passes since 1950. So I mean, they're taking care of the ball, and they're making, they're producing for their team, getting those touchdowns. So it's going to be a battle. I think that the defense is going to be key on Caleb.
Yeah, Toyotathon in full effect, as people are saying here in the chat. Listen, I have a lot of fun with it every year when we talk Toyotathon. I kind of, I talk it up like it's a big thing. Do I truly believe there's something there? I never really have. I've never, it's just kind of like it's a fun thing. Well, it's starting to feel like there's something to Toyota. Oh my God, this guy's lights
Especially
out.
after that Thanksgiving performance, right?
Yeah, man.
Once he gets the national commercials, it's over, right? I mean,
Yep.
No doubt about it, man. No doubt about it. Want to give a shout out here, Robert in the chat. New subscriber here. Love what you done, Clay. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for being a sub. And all the new subs, man, it's through the roof. You guys are crushing it, and it's all because everybody's taking a quick second to hit that like button.
absolutely.
It's just awesome to kind of continue to grow the PTA family and get in here and talk ball. And we appreciate the kind words, buddy. Thank you so much for subbing to the channel. All right, let's jump into a little lineup talk here. Let's go. Let's start with our offense, all right, against their defense. How's that sound, fellas? We good with that?
Yes, sir.
Let's go 11 personnel. Boy, a little bit of green on this screen. Well, look at here. Okay, all right. So our 11 personnel, 3 wide receiver sets, right? 1 running back, 1 tight end, 3 wides. This is how we look. Let's start with the quarterback. Jordan Love, the 3rd highest graded quarterback in the league right now at an 87.3, absolutely lighting it up. Right beside him in the backfield is Josh Jacobs with an 82.1. That's the 6th highest graded running back. Of course, we love Emmanuel Wilson coming out of the bullpen there as well. So obviously that's probably two of the most important parts of this offense. Now, when we focus on the front 5 against their front 4, from left to right, Rasheed Walker, 66.6, Banks, 58, Ryan, 57. Belton is grading out a 41. This will be his 2nd start, right? Or will it be his 3rd? You guys remind me. Was it 2nd or 3rd?
He was getting reps 2 games ago, but I think this last game was his start.
Gotcha. So this will be the 2nd start there. And then, of course, Zach Thomas just lights out 82.5. When you look at their defensive front, they've got Booker, 58.1, Jarrett, 52.8, Dexter Sr., 60.2, and then Sweat is their best pass rusher, no doubt about it. As Montez Sweat, 70.3. He's had a solid career. He's definitely their best pass rusher, but I really, really like our ability to block him if he is rushing off the edge. I think Rasheed Walker can handle him. I think Zach Tom can handle him, especially after what they did to Aiden Hutchinson last week. My God, we seen Aaron Banks locking up Aiden Hutchinson on stunts. So how do y'all feel about their front four against our O-line here, man?
Yeah, it's a good battle right there. I think that you're right on the fact of, Tom and Walker can handle Sweat and Booker. I think that we're good. The stunts are going to be big. I'm going to be, you got to keep an eye on Belton. We're hoping that he can really keep up, his mauling pace and being able to sort of road grade. But also we throw the ball, so we're going to need you to. You saw him get over his skis a couple of times in that last game. So just hoping that you can chip away at it, work on the footwork. Obviously, you're going to have some hiccups. He's a young guy, but I love that they're giving him a shot at it. Say, hey, even if it doesn't work out and you got to go back to Morgan in 2 games, at least Belton got 2 or 3 games of starting snaps. Hey, all right, he's ready to go back in the playoffs if, God forbid an injury happens or something like that. We got an extra guy. We get those meaningful reps. All this is going to pay off in the end. I think the only guy you're missing is Mr. Glover. I think that would be the only thing that would highlight this whole line.
There it was, Tim. You knew it was coming, man.
I knew it was coming.
Unbelievable. How do you feel about the trenches?
Too bad T. Glover's not off the IR like Emilio is.
I know.
See?
Oh, man. Tim, how you feel about the trenches here, man? You got anything else you want to add there, sir?
Yeah, just that photo of Emilio. Funny right there. No, I do. I think I like how we look against here. And, Anthony Belton getting another start under his belt. This is the prime matchup for him to, have a great performance. Love the way he's been playing so far, but he's got to continue to build. Big Escalade is still a rookie. And, looking at Chicago's front, I feel like we could, throw the ball and run the ball. I'm wondering if we find some success running the ball in between the tackles. Against that Bears front right there. Is that old Grady Jarrett there, number 50? Is that who I'm thinking? Who's number 50?
Let's see if we can figure that out real quick. It is
Grady. There's a guy.
Wow.
All right. Yeah. Pound the rock. Give me some interior runs and then give me some of that play action naked boot for shot plays all day. Let's go.
Grady Jarrett, man. Like, how does he have to forfeit some of his check because he's drawing Social Security too? Like, that dude's still in the league. It's unbelievable.
I had to double check. I saw that name. I said, "Is that who I think that is?" It is.
Wow. Aaron Rodgers in the chat says football is better when Green Bay and Chicago is playing for the North.
Amen.
It's also better beating them. Go Pack Go. Could not agree more. Man. So you were kind of talking about the passing game there a little bit, pass blocking. Let's jump into the receivers against their DBs. Christian Watson, 84.6. He's the 8th highest rated receiver now across the entire National Football League. The ACL is good to go. My man's playing with his hair on fire right now. Dontavion Wicks, 72.7. Don't look now. He's the 31st highest graded receiver. And you got Romeo Doubs with a 67.1. He's mostly playing that X position for us. He's the 58th highest graded receiver as it sits right now. So what you've got here, guys, you've legit got 2 receivers that are grading out as top 32 receivers. One is a top 10 receiver. The other is a legit starting caliber number 1 receiver, not a go-to number 1 receiver, not a field tilting number 1 receiver, not a bracket coverage number 1 receiver. He's simply grading out in the top 32. There's 32 teams, right, in Dontavion Wicks. And you got Romeo Doubs, who's I feel comfortable saying one of the better number 2 receivers in the game. So, and this does not include Jaden Reed, who should be back on the field most likely Sunday. This does not include Matthew Golden, who has a good shot of playing again this week. We're sitting in a good spot here. When you look at their corners from left to right, no particular order, just kind of going across PFF's preview here. Wright, 62. Gardner Johnson, 53.5 in the slot. Jalen Johnson, 58. Now, he's coming back from an injury. Jalen Johnson, good corner. Even better dude. Shout out to Jalen Johnson for, obviously praying over Christian Watson when he tore his ACL against the Bears last year. Nothing but a class act with Jalen Johnson. Come Sunday, I hope they embarrass him. But just got to acknowledge the fact that Jalen Johnson's a great guy and how he handled that whole situation. But this cornerback room, guys, along with the safeties, when you look at their safeties, Byard is playing really good football, 79.9 he has his entire career, former 3rd-round pick. They're out of Middle Tennessee. How about that, Emilio?
Come on, man.
So the fourth highest graded safety, that's a good football player there. You got Brisker at a 61.6, not horrible, but nothing really that you worry about too much there. So when you look at their DB room, Tim, and you look at our receivers, I like the way we match up here, man.
This is why I was saying, like, let's not get away from the run. Let's not overshadow the run. Let's pound the rock when we can and put the pressure on those DBs, because when we get play action looks, or even not play action looks, and you're just, have established some sort of a running attack, you're going to put all the more pressure on guys like Gardner Johnson and Wright out there trying to, handle what we have right now, which is Tay Wicks playing the best football, really of his career since his rookie season. And, Rome, Mr. Reliable. And then, of course, you got Mama, there goes that man himself, Mr. Scoot, Christian Watson. All signs point to I think Jay Money's going to have at least 3 tutters when it comes to the passing attack. But again, you got to keep the pressure on that defense by sticking to the run and running the football. We know how Matt's offense looks when we're able to have a solid run game, and it just opens up so much down the field with the passing attack.
Yeah. And honestly, the thing that worries me most about that secondary is the way they've been able to convert turnover opportunities.
Bingo.
The fact that they're not dropping it. They have good hands. All right. That's what I'm going to give this secondary right now. And we just need to make sure that they don't put those to use. All right. And the fact that Watson coming back, off an injury and is grading out as the 8th best dog. I mean, he's the best ever play this game, right, Clay? So I'm with it. I'm excited. I think the offense is cruising, and like Tim said, we got to get that run going. I think that it's going to be big for Josh to get ahead of steam and getting downhill, and it's going to be cold, right? You got to make them want to tackle you. You get Josh running downhill, you get him, feeding the spoon. I think that he's ready to roll.
Yeah. Coach Lynn asked a great question. Is Wicks a go-to type wide receiver to y'all after last week's game? This is how I feel, and I don't want to speak for anybody else, and this in no way, shape, or form is meant to be shade toward any other receiver on the Packers roster. I think Wicks, we seen it his rookie year. He had a setback last year, his second year in the league. This year, the hands are better, the route running's just as good, and he's making contested catches now. He's learning how to box out. He's kind of a bigger receiver, right? I mean, you don't really think of him as a big receiver, but when you look at 6'1", 206, a little bit bigger of a receiver, right? And he plays bigger than that too. People see that 4'6", 40 and go, oh, crap. It don't matter when you're playing underneath. I mean, you see him beat Brian Branch and a great hands catch with one damn shoe on, right? Like Wicks, I feel like Wicks personally is the 3rd best receiver on this team behind Watson and Jaden Reed. I would still probably put Jaden Reed above Watson until we see Reed come back. And if Reed comes back and Watson's still performing outside of his mind like he is right now, and Jaden Reed kind of falls into that number 2 role, I think Wicks is that number 3 receiver. Now you've got a position here where we've watched the tape, and what you end up seeing is you've seen Watson, Wicks, and Golden play all 3 positions. Romeo mostly plays X, but we've seen him in the F while they were putting Golden in the X from time to time in their 11 personnel. So you've got 3 receivers that are under contract next year: Christian Watson, Dontavion Wicks, and Matthew Golden, who now can play all 3 positions. Watson is ideally your field Z, your speed Z to take the top off, right? Matthew Golden, in my opinion, is perfect for a boundary X position. He's got strong hands. He's just really, really good at catching the football. He's quick twitch. He's also got the speed to take the top off the defense that maybe Romeo doesn't have in the X position. I think that's why they tried to work him in over there to try to get some shot plays at the boundary X spot, because typically with boundary X, if you go middle field close, that post safety has got to shade toward the field side, the wide side of the field, and now typically give you a chance to take shot plays to a speed demon in the X spot. That's something that's been missing, I feel like, in this Packers offense. Now, the downside of that, Dobbs, I don't know if he's got stronger hands or better hands than Matthew Golden, but anybody who says that Dobbs does, it's hard for me to argue with that. Dobbs is a great hands catcher, right? But it's a good problem to have, man. You got, if we talking about Savion, like Savion went out there on 1 foot and made a made a game, basically a game-saving catch on a 3rd and long where he mossed a dude, where he, playing on one leg. So
He's a grown ass man now. And
he is. That's right. He is. So go to Mike Witt here. I hate that these are so big that it's covering y'all up, man. I don't know what stream yours doing. I had to put everything back in the system anyway. There you go, Emilio. Raise up a little bit, Emilio. Look at you. It looks
like that selfie you had with Travis Glover.
Put your arms around it, Emilio. Hug it. Just embrace it, man. There it is. All right, Mike went with the super chat. Thank you, buddy. He says, "Howdy, boys. While I don't think Matt thinks about Ben Johnson's comments, but I hope Micah and Rashawn have that defense pissed. 3 sacks for one Sunday. Talking about number 1 Micah Parsons. Amen to that. I think that's what's going on behind the scenes. That's the vibe I got from Micah in his comments about being disrespected. So thank you for that super chat, Mike. We appreciate you. All right. Anything else on offense, guys? Anything else y'all want to look at here? Maybe let's look at the linebackers. I apologize. Edwards, 75.1. That's their best linebacker. TJ Edwards playing really good football. Obviously, solid football player there. And on the other side, they are missing their other starting linebacker. So they got Noah Sewell in here, and he has been cheeks this year. 41.3. Last year was minimal snaps at a 30.8. So just not playing good football, just to be quite frank about it. So when you look at their linebacking core, Edwards solid in the middle. They don't really have a dominant interior pass rusher. They really don't have a dominant outside pass rusher either. So they're weak up front, right? This spells that we should be able to run the football on the Bears. And when we looked at the rankings, right, first of all, sack percentage, they are ranked 24th in sack percentage, 5.79%. So they do not – that is actually – that puts them in the 24th spot. So they are not good at generating sacks. And then when you look at the rush defense, their yards per rush attempt allowed, Chicago is currently ranked 30th, allowing 5.2 yards per rush. Emilio, 17-degree temperature, drops are going to be an issue on Sunday. Like Tim said, run the damn football at the Chicago Bears defense. Don't be afraid to pass. They want to load the box, eat them up. But let's stick with the run here, I believe, man.
Yeah, I think that's all what you need to. I think Matt needs to let him, branch out a little bit. Maybe look at a stretch or two. Maybe get yourself, into some other looks. You're going to use Kennard, bring in that 70, see what happens. You just got to pick and choose. Control the ball, control the opportunity. When we were looking at those numbers, they have 72 offensive plays a game, something like that. If you don't give him that many opportunities, how many times is Caleb going to have? You give him less opportunities, he's going to feel pressured, a little bit more hurried. Hey, I got to make something happen on this drive. We're not getting a lot of opportunities, a lot of chances. I need to make something happen. You get a mistake, right? So I think you want to control the clock, control the game. We're probably not going to be spinning it all over the yard. I think Jordan's definitely going to get his. And, we have a good receiving core, like Steno was saying. Great problem to have, everybody coming back and them all playing this well. But, I think you're right. We really do need to just stick to the run. Let Emmanuel get him hot. If Marshawn's ready for a carry or two, sprinkle it in there. Chris Brooks. But I'd say we probably got to be around 30 carries, 20, 25, 30 carries this game.
I agree with that 100%. I mean, when it comes to the passing attack, you take your shots when you can get them, right? Yep. And you want to get those quick hitters too. You want to get your crossers and you want to get your checks and things like that. But, if we can't run the football on Sunday, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for us against this team. I think establishing the run at the very least, to your point, we don't need Josh Jacobs to have, 90 carries and, 250 yards or anything, but we have to be willing to run the ball and we have to be effective at running the ball because that's going to tilt the balance against this Bears defense and open up those shots for Jordan and the receivers,
Yep.
Absolutely. And shout out to Cody McDougal. Thank you so much for the dono there, buddy. I'm going to find his next comment. He may have meant to do this in a super chat. Thank you, Cody. He says, Bears still do suck. Let's not forget this. Amen. I mean, the Bears will always suck. If the Bears were undefeated, we'd be saying the Bears suck. That's just the way that works.
Did you hear how Josh said it? Josh Jacobs. He goes, "Yeah, their record's actually a little better this year, so it makes the game more interesting." like along those lines, they're playing a little better this year, so the game's a little more interesting. And I just slight little jabs, man.
I love it. Mike Witt with the super chat. Thank you so much, Mike. He says, have a gut feeling that while everyone is talking about Wicks and Watson, I think this is the week Agent Zero breaks out. Thoughts? I could see it. He's going to be hungry, that's for sure. And I think Matt does want to try to get him. It's going to come down to the game plan, right? Like how's the game flowing? We always talk about the first quarter, you're gathering information. The second and third quarter is about making the adjustment and controlling the middle eight. And then the fourth quarter is a standalone game. If you feel good about where you're at, let's say you're approaching halftime and you're up by 10 points, maybe get Matthew Golden implemented a little bit more, right? Okay, let's get a couple plays that are drawn up for him to be the primary receiver, whether it's a pick aside or a true progression, what have you, kind of put him in a position to kind of get him going a little bit. But if it's a tie ball game or a 3-point ball game going into halftime, let's focus on winning this damn ball game, right? But I could see that, Mike. I could totally see that because we're talking about Christian Watson's blew up. Wicks just had his best game, right? Dobbs is Mr. Consistency. I wouldn't be surprised if Matthew Golden goes off. How y'all feel about that?
Yeah, for sure. Especially when you talk about, like we mentioned, quick passing game. We love MG running those 9 routes down the field for the shot plays, but I think getting the ball to him early in space, off a healthy running attack is a chance for him to be the yak master and possibly do what Mike's saying here and have a breakout game. I think he's dynamic with the ball in his hands in space early in the progressions, and I'm looking forward to seeing plenty of those opportunities, playing off of that running attack that hopefully we have established. So I could definitely see MG having that breakout. Mm-hmm. Not saying that there's not a shot play, in the cards. I'm not saying that. If it's there, we'll take it,
Exactly. Let's take a quick look. And again, we're going to do the defensive side of stuff tomorrow. I didn't expect the offense to go that long, but that was a real fun conversation there. Let me see if I can get this pulled up, if it will load. I wanted to see where Matthew Golden's at in terms of his PFF grade, because I felt like he was grading out pretty darn good, albeit, there's minimal snaps or what have you, right? But, yeah, let's drop this down. Let me get these receiving grades up for you guys real quick. Because people who don't watch the Packers very often, they think, oh, Matthew Golden, they look at the stats and go, oh, he's bad, he's a bust, what have you, right? Now, it could be further from the truth. When he's capitalized on his opportunities. Now, they've tried to force some shot plays to him into coverage that have fallen incomplete. But, yeah, Matthew Golden's grading out a 67.0 right now. Look at his drop grade, guys. He's actually got the best drop grade out of all the receivers on this team at an 85.3. So that shows up on tape. He's also protecting the football. He's got the best fumble grade at 80.5, and his receiving grade is a 67.7, given his overall PFF grade as a 67, which we always say is for rookie grades out in the 60s or higher. It's a good indicator they're going to be a good pro. So, yeah.
Plus 67 is a heck of a lot higher than
65%.
65%. That's what Mandy said it the other day. We were downstairs doing something, and the number 65 got brought up. And before I didn't even cross my mind. She turned around she put her hands like that too. She went 65%. So damn proud of this girl. Man, awesome. Could not have married up anybody.
I love it.
Yeah, and I agree what Nicholas says here. Thank you for the super chat, Mike. Nicholas says Golden is legit, just needs to stay healthy. Amen. That's it, right? Yeah. And it's so cool that he might have been playing if this was down the stretch or in the playoffs, right? Like if it was like a we got to have it game and maybe the other receivers are banged up. I love the fact that you got all these guys. Jaden Reed coming back, Christian Watson, Dontavion Wicks, Romeo Dobbs, Matthew Golden, Savion when he's healthy, Malik Heath. I feel good about Malik being out there. You know, feels really, really good with the position.
And just at the right time, right? Tough that we lost Tucker, but you get all these other opportunities with these other wide receivers. We were talking. I've been calling for 5 wide receiver sets here for a long time now. Spread it out. Let Jordan, let these guys go. Win some routes. But it is a good problem to have. Tough that you don't have your number 1 tight end, but you have all these opportunities and players on the out wide that you can get the ball to that have skill.
Yep. Absolutely. Go to the super chat here. Michael Diesel Train. Appreciate you, buddy. He says, with the weather, I think we can get a lead. Start fast. All that confidence they will have will cause the Bears to panic and press and uncomfortable pressing. Caleb is a huge key, in my opinion. You've seen it in college. It was all over the college tape.
Yep.
I completely agree there. I think the thing here, Michael, too, is keep him in the pocket. Cage rush. I'm cool if we don't sack him one time on Sunday. What I don't want to see him being able to do is that jab step and getting outside the defender and making those secondary, window throws. Keep him in the pocket. First and foremost, focus on stopping their run. They are damn good at running the football. I mean, damn good at running the football. They got 2 backs that are legit top 10 running backs, in my opinion. That's Monangai and DeAndre Swift. Now, they revamped that offensive line. They got Tooney up there. They got Dahlman at center, arguably one of the best centers in the game right now. They can really, really blow you off the ball, but the Packers have been really good at stopping the run. We heard this last week, right, guys? Jahmyr Gibbs just ran he damn near had 300 rushing yards the week before. He's going to run all over Green Bay. I'm going, Bub, that's a Giants run defense.
Yep.
They're like 29th in the league, right? Mm-hmm. Packers are 5th. It's a different run defense, a different game. It's a different matchup, right? So, yeah, I feel good about stop the run, make Caleb play quarterback from within the pocket, and I think you're going to have a really good shot of winning this ball game, Michael. But you guys got anything you want to add to his super chat there? Anything at all?
No, I agree with your assessment there. Keep him in the well, keep him in the pocket. Nothing would please me more than to see Caleb Williams stand back there, ball padding and thinking he's about to cook, and then getting picked off by Keyshawn or CV. So I'm all for that.
Yeah, and Tim, this stat here, Packers defense has allowed a league low 108 scramble rushing yards across 19 scramble runs faced this season. 108. Okay, that's that they said at average basis that's 5.7 yards per scramble, third fewest in the NFL, with the average normally being 7.4. So we're giving out, just about under 2 yards a carry average there. And and we've faced high quarterbacks. We've faced Jaden Daniels. We've faced Jalen Hurts. The second highest quarterback is Caleb Williams. So it's going to be a great test for this defense, how we handle the scramble. What's Jeff Hafley going to do? How are you going to use Micah? Is he going to be rushing every time? Are we dropping him? Are we spying him sometimes? And that's where I think Quay is going to be big. Cooper is going to be big. You need that horizontal speed with a fast quarterback like that.
Yeah. That's a great point. We talked about that with McDuffie being your north and south guy and Quay being that east and west guy. And we might see that on full display here on Sunday against the Bears.
Yeah. And it is worth mentioning, you said 5.7 yards per scramble. Is that right, Emilio?
Yeah, that's our average. Yep.
And Caleb Williams is averaging 5 yards a carry. So actually less than what we're giving up on scrambles. So you look at that number and go, not overly concerned. Right. But we've seen it. It's on the tape. He's in
Hafley knows. Look, we got to make sure we attack outside in. All your help's inside. We turn him back in. We can't be letting him peel out and just hold the right trigger, Clay, and run to the sideline and let that thing spin.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for that super chat, Michael. Appreciate you. You guys got anything else you want to hit before we wrap up? Anything at all?
No, big game tonight. Go Cowboys.
That's right. It's getting kicked off right now in Ford Field. See Dak running out there. So who are we rooting for? We're definitely pulling for the Cowboys, right?
Oh, for sure. Let's write that second L at home real quick,
They got the worst record, right? The worser.
There you go.
Record. Then obviously the Lions. So, yeah, let's go out there and smack the Lions and drive them down a little bit. And we'll give an updated look at the playoff hunt tomorrow for sure. We'll dive into that.
Yeah, it's like I think they were saying it's the biggest swing of any game this season so far for playoff hopes. Like a 40-point swing for either team. So,
wow. Yeah. So this
playoffs.
Money.
This is a playoff game essentially, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, that's it.
We'll get updates throughout the night from Emilio on the text thread, right?
Oh, dude, you guys have no idea, like. And I know I'm going to lose a little bit of my Packers cred here, but I find myself, when they're not playing the Packers, I find myself kind of catering toward certain teams that when they're good, it's good for the league. And, like when Coach Mike was down there with Dallas, they weren't playing the Packers. I found myself kind of rooting for them. And now all of us knowing that Emilio's dad, S.A., is a Cowboys fan, we text more during Cowboys games than we do during Packer games, right?
Yeah, Kenny's out there. Look at Kenny. Quinn is doing it, and you just see it. It's fun to watch another team from a different point of view, right? You're not watching it to scout it or anything. You're watching it for football and just take your eyes off here and there.
Yep. Yeah, and as Chris says, right, Kenny Skylark Clark. That's another reason to root for him, right? Kenny Clark, obviously,
absolutely
great Packer for so long. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's just when there's a big play, somebody will text in the text thread in all caps and long essay. So, all right, we're out of here, guys. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us so much. And listen, thank y'all for tuning in to the random streams we've got throughout the day and just kind of being a little bit flexible there. I'm always blown away at how many people jump in. But if you guys like this type of content, this was your first time tuning in to PTA tonight, thank you for making us a part of your evening. Make sure you hit subscribe, click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live. Everybody, please, please, please smash that like button so we can continue to climb in the algorithm. We're on the march to 7,000 subs, and it's picking up steam big time. So I think that once we get this algorithm cranked out and we keep moving in the right direction, if everybody who watched this stream, right, that watched our videos, say over the course of the last month, if everybody just hit sub, we would be over 20,000 subs. We got like 22,000 people that continue to watch the channel. They come back, but we got less than 7,000 subs. And again, I do the same thing. I've got people I watch all the time and I forget to sub to their channel. So just take a quick second, hit that sub. We greatly appreciate it. So that's it, guys. Let's go watch the Cowboys take care of business against the Lions here. We'll be back tomorrow, multiple streams to give you guys. Tomorrow night, we'll plan on, it's Friday night, right? Tomorrow night, we'll plan on doing the PFF preview, our defense against their offense. That's going to be a fun one because, again, they got a good running game. Caleb and that passing offense pretty darn good too, right? Yeah. It's just Caleb's dragging it down, which is hilarious. When you look at their yards per pass attempt, they've actually been pretty decent there as well. So, all right, that's it, guys. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Thank y'all so much. Hit that like button for us. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world and go Pack Go.
Here we go.
Nice.
Bye, guys.